The most also?
No.
Okay, so we're recording now, and we're going to do this from the beginning. So in this case, I have this scene with a dinosaur. Yes, I am. And I actually, it is moving. I'll show you in a second. It also has textures, this thing. So if I just go to the hypershade, I can just reattach the textures. So the textures is in the same folder as the rest of the material. So in this case here, and Dino Rig and textures, and the one I'm looking for is the Dino Rig diffuse. Okay, and then it should be enough to just go through and go reload on all of these. Just reloading all of them. This one maybe, I'm not sure. Yeah, this one I need to grab. That is what the. Okay, we'll get back to that. Anyway, we need to track this again. So I'll do a read node, and I'll find the dinosaur clip. It is down here, there, and the sand, and go open. Press 1. Okay, so now it's in my viewer, and then I need to track this. So I go to camera tracker in the 3D section, plug it in here in between. Over here I can set my tracking detail. I just go track, and it runs through the tracking.
Nice.
Working. So I can just launch Maya in the meantime and load the other file while it's tracking in the background. It tracks forward and then backwards, and then compares the forward and backward solution. Okay, so let's go open scene, desktop, sand, dino animated. Okay, and there we go. And then I just need to go to my hypershade, and I need to relink these textures. So for instance, this one has to be the sand texture there, and that one is good, and this one is also the sand texture. Yep, and then this one is the Dino Rig diffuse. That will be one up, and Dino Rig, Dino textures, Dino Rig diffuse. And then I just need to go through these and go reload. I could probably just do it on one of them, but I'm just making sure I'm getting everything right. And very soon I have reloaded all of them. Very good. So it should all be in here, and if I turn on textures, we should have textures in it. Okay. So this is our dinosaur. There's a small animation on this. It's going to do like, actually this is animated on the frames at the end because it's prepared for that scene, but we'll get to that. Okay, so I'll just save scene just for now, and then I'll pop back here, and I think the track is done. It is. So we have all of these tracking markers flying all over the place. I'm going to click solve camera to make it calculate how the points are doing. Okay. And then I'm going to go into the refine section, and I have this solve error of 0.577, which is pretty good, but I'm going to make the min length 12. Just go recalculate to see what that does. Okay, it makes it slightly better, and then I'm going to change the max track error to 1 and the max error to around 2, and then try to recalculate. Okay, so this is pretty good. I'm just going to make it smaller, make it like 1. Recalculate. Good. So that makes it fairly good, but I don't have a lot of points to play with here. I lose too many points, I think, so I'll just make this slightly bigger. Recalculate. There we go. 0.4. It's quite good. One thing I forgot to do here is I can also use a mask to make sure that I'm not tracking the guy here. So maybe I should just try that. I'll just close the tracker here, and I'm going to do a roto shape for this. So just start at frame 1 or frame 0 there, and I'm going to go to the roto paint. There we go, and I'm going to plug that in there, plug that down there, set it to 2. Actually, I'll just look at this thing here, so just do 1. So I'm looking at the background, but the roto paint is selected. And when the roto paint is selected, I get these tools over here, plus some tools up here, but these are the ones that I'm interested in. And I select this one called Bézier V, and then I just draw a shape around this guy. So I just go something like I'll probably tweak this in a second. So yeah, exactly, something like that. There we go. And then I have the arrow here. I'll just make sure it's pretty okay. Let's make this a little bigger. So this is a fairly decent track here. Something like that. Okay. And then I just go to a different frame, for instance the last one, and then I just need to line this up in some way so that it makes sense for the scene here. So I just make that go like that, and that goes there, and that goes there, and that goes there, and here, and in there somewhere, and this should be over here, and it should be around there, and probably. So basically I'm just setting up this mask, okay, and then go to somewhere in between, and it's the same sort of thing I'm doing, just lining this up. There's obviously there's auto keying on for this, so I'm just going to make sure that all of this looks somewhat okay, and this one should be down here, and that one should be, so this should probably be there. Okay, so you can see that it takes just a little while to do this. So if you can get around not doing it, then that is of course easier. But in this case I think I need to do it. Well, actually I don't, but we just say that I have to. Okay, so we're almost done, I think. There. Of course, if there's some jumps in the camera, I need to take care of that, so I'll just do a preview of it in a second. So that works. There, we need to move that out there, that in there, that up there, oop, and that over there. That looks nice. And I just need to rotoing is the best thing ever.
What? Rotating?
Yeah, rotoscoping.
Ah.
That's the process of just sitting here and This is actually
Showing it frame by frame.
yes, this is low detail work, of course. A lot of people hate doing this. I find it kind of relaxing, because it's just you turn the brain off and then you just
Easier than coding.
yes, it is. But I think we're done in a second. Just need to make sure that I got this, and in here in between.
And it's not a long video, so you don't have to.
Well, I think 340 frames is a decent VFX shot. It's more than 10 seconds, so it's a reasonable size. You know, a lot of shots would be much shorter, because it's like you just see a quick cut to an explosion or a alien bathing all over the table or something like that.
Or a beard growing.
Exactly, a beard growing. Yeah, that's true. So it should be almost done. We could also have tracked this, but that would sort of be funny tracking to make a track. So now it's just and there we go. And let's see. So let's see how this one runs. There's just a frame there where we just need to pull that out. It seems to. Ooh, that was a bad one. And then just put that in there. Yeah, that's nice. Okay, so let's look at the result of the rotopaint now. So I press 2, so we get this. That's probably not what we want. Okay, if we look at the rotopaint node, we can actually just turn off the red, green, and the blue. So it's only an alpha. So if we look at the alpha channel here, we can see that we have the mask being animated, but we have the color just passing through nicely. So that's pretty good. And then I'm going to do a new camera track node. There we go. And in this one I can just use the source alpha as a mask, and then I should be able to just go track features, and you should see that it tracks points all around but not inside the mask. Ooh. I should probably have done the mask slightly bigger, but never mind. That's sort of a.
So we have to mask the whole.
You have you have to balance if you want to make the mask really tight and use a lot of work on it, or you make it loose and then you have to make it big enough that you can make it loose and then you lose a lot of area where you can track. So it's a balance. But I think this should work okay. So it's tracking backwards. Usually it runs slightly faster, I think. And then it's interesting to see if the result is actually better than the one where we didn't go to all the trouble of doing the masking. And it's done. Okay, let's see. Refine. Oh, sorry. Need to solve it first. Solve. And there we go. So it says 0.53, so it's slightly better than the other one. And we can make the min length like 10, make this like 1, and this also like there, recalculate. So it's not really a lot better, so maybe go here, maybe recalculate. Yeah, that's pretty good. 0.32. I'll buy that one. I'm not going to delete the points or anything. I'm just going to go with this. I can just delete the other tracker. No, I'll just leave it. No mind. Okay. Create camera. And let's just see the camera here. Put it into 3. So we have this thing here. Ooh, one thing I forgot. Scene. I'd like to have this scaled as 100. There we go. So it's slightly bigger now. And then look through the camera. There we go. Then see if we can see the result here. Yeah, it looks good. And you can see this time we don't have the guy in the foreground because he's masked out. So we're not seeing him at all. Okay.
Wonderful.
Yeah, wonderful. And then we just need to let's go to the last frame here. Then we need to select some points that are on our ground. So I'm just going to look at the tracker and grab some points there, and select some more points there, and woo! And there, and there, and there. And those. So I think this is there we go. Good. Right click, go set to selected, and let's then see how it looks here. Yeah, it looks nice. Set this to over, and then have a look at the result here. It's funny that it does the jitter for the background. I don't know why. So that is essentially our track, which we like. Then I'll add a stand-in element if I can, like go here in my camera tracker too, and then just grab that one and go just need to grab that one and go create axis. There you go. I'll make a scene. So I'm going to grab my camera tracker and I'm going to create points. Yes.
What's so funny about creating points?
So we have that, and we have the axis in here as well. Plug that into the scene as well, and then look at the scene. And if I then grab the axis, we can see it's located here. That is actually just in front of our guy, so it's positioned there, and I should be able to move it in the let's see if this is the x-axis. That was not the x-axis, so it's probably the z-axis. Okay, so I just go to, so if this has to be a dinosaur, it should probably be around there and probably over here somewhere. Okay, so it's just to have a reference point of what he's looking at. So there, maybe slightly off to the side. Oh, that's too far. This virtual slider is a little funny the way it works. Okay, so I have my my track running, and I have I made a locator here that I can use. The tracker points here I really don't want, so I disconnect those to the scene or from the scene because I don't want them in Maya. I just want the axis and I want the camera. Then I go to the 3D section, geometry, write geometry, and I set up a file. So going to the desktop, and I go to the sand there, and I'm just going to go tract with mask, just so that I can remember what that file was. I need to set this to FBX. Oh, dot FBX. There, X. Okay, and all is good. And I go export. So it runs through this and exports it. And don't worry about the backdrop. It doesn't update when we're exporting. And 3, 2, 1. There we are. I pop over into Maya, and I already have the dinosaur in here, so I'll just keep that, and I'm going to go import. And the one I need is tracked with mask. Import. Okay. And that creates a camera. So if I go and look through the camera, you can see that the scene is a little bit small, but the camera is working okay. It's quite nice. What I can do here is either scale down the dinosaur, or
Who made that? Dinosaur.
it's a rig from Creative Crash, as far as I remember. I can select my camera and my axis and group them, and then I can scale that group up like so. So now you can see that I get this instead. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the image plane of the scene. Import image, and that will be in the sand folder, like so. And I'm going to turn on image sequence. So he's having happy time with small dinosaur.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Then what I need to do here is I'm going to change the overscan settings on my camera so that I can see what is inside and outside the scene. So I select camera, and I go to the display options, and I'm going to set the overscan to 1.5, like so. And I'm going to turn on display resolution, and we see that the resolution is right, but the image plane is not matching. If the resolution was not right, go into the render settings and set the settings here. So this, in this case, it's NTSC, and also I need to set the frame range from 1 to 341, or actually it would make more sense to just check when the dinosaur will enter. We'll check that in a second. Set the frame padding to 4 and the name and extension so that we can output a sequence. This is set up for a mental ray. I'll just get back to that. But I need to fit the image plane, and I do that by selecting the image plane, view image, and then I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to set this to size and set that to resolution gate, like so. So now it will match my sequence exactly. Then what I need to do here is move the dinosaur over so that it is at the right position for the animation. So I select the rig in my outliner and I move it over. Woo! What happened there? This should work. Whoa, something is not moving right. Oh, maybe that one. Okay, that was better. Okay, I can just snap that to that locator there. Did that work? Just go to perspective view. Yeah, it snapped to the locator. Good. Let's go back to camera. So it's slightly small now. So we could make it a little bigger by just scaling it up. So like that. So we have this clip now where the dinosaur is coming in and it's telling him that it doesn't like him.
I would like to move.
We can also move this a little closer, like there. So you can see here is where it enters the scene. So that's actually, so if we render from frame 200, that's enough. We don't need more. There's no reason in rendering all of this because that's just the background. So in my render settings, I set the start frame to 200. Okay. And my render format OpenEXI is quite popular. So I'm just going to use that and set the encoding to maybe zip, so it'll pack it up with the zip. Okay. And then we need to look at how to create a shadow here, because right now this doesn't have a shadow. So I create a plane. Yeah, I'm just going to make a plane, move it over to the dinosaur, make it bigger, like so. Move it, because if I look at this, I can see that the shadow is going like this direction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a directional light. There we go. And I'll just scale this up so we can see what's going on. And then I'm just trying to align this with the shadow, sort of a. It looks like it should be somewhat like this, I think. And then just set it to do shadows. Okay. So if I just try and render this, I get this.
Oh.
So the shadow should probably be slightly more to the side, so maybe there. Maybe it's too much. Let's see. So it's just tweaking until you think that the shadow is, oh, that's too much. Yeah, this will work okay. Then just make this plane big enough for it to take care of the shadow. There we go. It's pretty close. Oh, it's getting cut off by the image plane. So go to the image plane, and there's a setting called depth. So I just set that to 1000 instead. So that should fix that. So now I should be able to. So we have the shadow there. It should work nicely. Maybe rotate this so it's slightly more from above, like so.
His shadow a little bit.
I think it's fairly good now. Looks like it's working okay now. Okay. Maybe, yeah. So what I need to do here is change the ground so that it will work as the ground. And there's a couple of different options here. So one of them I'll use is the use background shader. So I can either right click, go assign material, and then go use background, or I can go to my rendering tab, select the ground, and click this one, use background, and then render. And what you should see is the background is on top. The only problem here is that the default settings actually creates like highlights and reflections. So I turn off the specular, turn off the reflectivity and the reflection limit, and then I just re-render.
Would you not like to do a... Oh wait, this is mine.
So
yeah. Never mind then.
Okay. I also have something called Final Gather on, it seems. That's what's creating like this darkness around it. I don't think I need that, so I'll just try and turn that off. Or maybe it's the... I turn that off, and let's see what that does.
What's the mode with artificial lighting and photons and stuff. What's that called again?
Global illumination.
Yeah, I think it's that.
Yeah, yeah. So that works well for the shadow, but it doesn't work too well for the dinosaur. So I'll just check with the use background here, and go. Yeah. Just turn on ambient occlusion, see what it looks like now.
Okay.
It's fairly okay. I'll just make this slightly bigger so that it'll take care of all of it, like so. So there we have this shadow underneath, and it seems to work nicely. There's no cut off or anything. I think the shadow needs to be slightly more blurry. So for the directional light, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the light angle to maybe 3.
That's just a little, that's just detail.
And just render this and see. Now it gets a little blurry, but it gets a little grainy. So I'll add shadow rays of maybe 4 to just fix this. There we go. So that looks fairly okay. Maybe that's too much too. If I just render the whole frame, there we go, and then I'll look at the alpha matte. You can see that it looks like this. So we actually get a mask that looks quite nice for the shadow and everything here, but my image plane is causing trouble. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off my image plane for rendering. So go to image plane. There we go. And at the top here, I'm just going to turn it off, none, and then I'm going to try and render again. And you can see now I get this. That's my mask, and that's my color. And the thing with the gray background is actually something that is coming from Nuke. So I can change that by selecting my camera, and then going to the environment effects. So there, and then setting this to black. Then I render again, and you can see I get a black background for the dinosaur, and I have a nice mask for it as well. I think maybe I need a little bit of light coming from below, otherwise it will be too dark. So I'll just add another directional, and I'll just make that slightly bigger, and I'll just make it come from below like this, and make it not so intense. Just set the intensity to maybe 0.3. and then see how that works. Yeah, then we get a little bit of light on the belly and stuff. Okay, so all I need to do now is render this out. Render settings. A couple of things need to check. Output file format should be good. It will render to my user account, documents, Maya project, blah blah blah. I am rendering frame 200 to frame 341. I am rendering camera 1, very important to remember that, and the resolution is the right one, and I'm rendering to OpenEXR. Okay, so what I'm going to do is going to render, batch render, and it's starting to render. So we'll do a pause for now until the rendering is done. Alright, so rendering is done. We have a sequence of the dinosaur from frame 200 to 341. So I'll open here, and I'm going to just turn off everything here and go to my read node there, and then I'm going to create another read node, and I'm going to read in the file from documents, Maya projects, default images, and I just rendered out the one called what was it called? Dino animated frame 200 to 341. That's a nice thing that it shows. It doesn't show all of the frames, it figures out what is a sequence and then just lists this as this. So grab that and go open. should come in now. And here. So, oh, it's actually just comping it in the viewport, which I'm not interested in. Okay, so we have that. So you can see in frame 200, it starts entering the frame, and it does its little thing. And if we look at the mat, we can see it has a mask underneath. So I'm going to grab that, create a merge node by pressing M, and then I'm going to connect that to the read node. There we go. So it's going in on top, and we can see that it is fairly overly bright. So let's see, the default is that it is linear. It is pre-multiplied. Let's see if we go, okay, we need to color correct this. So I grab this and I will go grade, press G, and then I can start to change, for instance, the gamma correction, or I can change the gain. And just see if I can make this work somewhat. Maybe I also want some more color. Just grab, say, color correct, for instance. Oh no, actually I want to grab a saturation node. Give it some more saturation. There. Just give it a little bit there, so it sits a little better in the scene, like that. And then I can use the grade to control how much light it has. Like there, so maybe it's too much. There we go. So that is pretty much the dinosaur in the scene. Set this to 1, and then do a playback. Just zoom it out.
Can we make him shoot?
We could add like some gun flashes. Yeah, we could. The problem is that he doesn't really do like a recoil thing, and a gun like that would probably have a bit of recoil.
We just mask him out, and then we motion speed him to do like a little.
We could do that.
Gangster died.
So here we go.
Pretty calm.
So you can see that the shadow is actually it is actually too bright, unfortunately.
I'll add a troll here.
So you can see that the shadow here is too bright. It should be slightly darker, and we can fix that. So for instance, I'm going to add another merge node here, and I'm just going to put that on top. This will actually darken up it slightly. You see that? So this, if I disable it, so what I basically do is I just overlap it with itself. It's a simple way. I could also use like curves to control it, but often I find that just comping something on top of itself will help. Another option here could be to use the color correct node. Just go to color correct, because there I have the ability to change things like the shadows and the midtones and so forth. So I can make the shadows less bright. Not those. I want to do this one. Turn these down. So you can see probably this affects the foreground too much. So that's the problem. Whereas since this is a transparent area, just masking it on top of itself will work pretty well. So just going there, and then just add it to itself, like so. And then we have something useful. One thing that you should think about is that we also have all these small dots here, and what to do with those. Yes. but we'll look at that later. There is actually a tool called marker removal. So if we go marker removal, so this tool here can be used to remove markers. So if I just plug that in there and show the result here, this looks quite interesting, right? What I need to do here is I need to add a roto paint node in between, and that roto paint, just look at this first. Yeah. Oh, actually, it's the wrong one. It's not that one. It is this thing over here I need to look at. There we go. So this roto paint, I can just like add small circles. So just go like there and there and there.
And you translate it.
Yeah, I could do things like that, but this is equally easy. So we can also do some cubes here. Do some more ellipse. Okay. So if I look at the result here from this, I get that, and again I just turn off what it affects. So it only affects the alpha channel, right? So it only affects the mask, and then I run that through the marker removal, and it removes them. But you can see it looks kind of funny, right? So that's where we need to tweak things like figuring out how much it should do. We can also change the setting for it, but it does some of the work for us. It's better if it's just one marker instead of a whole bunch of them. So if I just remove most of these, you can see this one actually works quite nice. So that's too much. Oh, there you go. And we can also change where it grabs it from. So that's one way. Another way we could do it, instead of the marker removal, is instead of doing that, we can actually go in and do a clone. So we need to grab a clone here, and then I need to set my foreground as well. That's should work, shouldn't it? What did I do wrong? Never mind, we'll get back to that. Final thing, need to output this, and of course it's just adding a write node there, plug that in, and tell it to render this out as a video file. So just go dino.mov and set it to what we usually use, something like that. Okay, and then just render and go. There we go. Yes. And let's just find that file. And it should be here somewhere. Oh, it complained about something and it didn't save it. Oh, bugger. Okay. Whatever. It's not important. So that concludes the tracking and placing a dinosaur in the scene thing. So good luck with that.